If you could choose 3 words to express what Drums for Peace means for you.
How come you chose the name Drums for Peace?
Is there anything you'd like to change about Drums for Peace?
What is the peace you want to achieve in Drums for Peace?
My purpose in this area was not to create art, but to use art as a tool for empowerment of people. Young people are the future for our lives, so I thought it was important to give more focus on young people and the future for young people. When we made the first youth exchange 10 years ago or 9 years ago in Denmark, I went up to the youth agency in Denmark, and they had never at that time had an application about the arts. By using the arts, it gives our network a special dimension of including different kind of young people, and most other networks work with mainly or maybe only young people who are successful already.
Movement is inside people. Every person has the movement. As soon as you walk, you have a movement, and dance is about movement. So it's just a way of channeling the movement.
Dance is a very important tool because it allows you to sometimes immediately understand what is wrong or has to improve or has to change. It's so obvious that it's a specific situation. In other places, just like regular school, you don't have the chance to notice, to find out so quickly certain things about people. So that if, for example, you have to talk about it or write about it, it will take ages to understand, but with movement you can immediately understand that something has to evolve, has to develop in some kind of way.
Let's remember this. Shut up, whoa, whoa. Okay, now we listen to this group.
I don't think that music or arts influence people, but is part of humanity. I think human being needs arts like food and water and air to breathe.
Oh yeah! Fire!
Oh yeah!
Pour moi, quand je suis jeune, la musique, la danse, c'est important parce que c'est une façon d'exprimer des choses qu'avec la parole, je ne peux pas faire, quoi. Il y a beaucoup de choses que je peux exprimer dans la musique, dans la relation avec moi et avec les autres, que je ne peux pas faire s'il n'y a pas la musique. Et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, pour moi, je peux dire des choses avec la musique que je ne peux pas s'il n'y a pas la musique.
There does seem to be some kind of accord the projects create between young people, between the staff. And I think it is to do with the fact that we're working with the arts, definitely. But I think this project is really about digging down deeper into this. Are we creating peace, it would seem. So we're creating friendships. I think peace has to happen within, doesn't it, first? And I think it's like when I said there's this cover-up and young people have this, they're in touch with the conflict inside that older people really try and suppress. And through the arts you can really bring them into this conflict and work with it constructively to make space in it, to make that peace and that a little bit of peace in this conflict.
When you have countries, 6 countries together, no matter where, they're gonna be able to find somebody that's close to them, that's from another country, that they probably would look at them differently. We have a thing in Portugal, the Bulgarians. They're not the Bulgarians. We have a lot of Bulgarians coming here, and Polish. We have a lot of Polish people here. And the way you see it, Polish people in my country, is that they're here to work as slaves, and what happened on the exchanges is that the Portuguese that came, they were able to meet people that came from the country, and they talked with them on a different way that they will never be able to look at the Portuguese ones that are here. So in that sense, that part of the racism is gone, because now they're going to look at the Polish and at the Bulgarians completely different, because they met some other people that they can relate to. So yes, it works on the racism side, definitely.
People's life change. Well, you can see it happen. I mean, in a class, for example, sometimes you understand something, you're used to live like this, and there's this peculiar moment where it's like, when your bones, you do like, and it changes, and you understand something, you discover that you were doing something and you don't need to do it anymore. So that's, yes, and I begin working with my students, and I say, stand up and stretch your arms. And people sometimes do like this or like this, and then in the end of the year I say, okay, stand up, stretch your arms, and when you see it, when I look at it, I clearly see what it has to do with empowerment. You do it differently and it feels better.
Actually, with Drums for Peace, when we came to the first youth exchange Variazioni attended to, it was in Portugal, 2004. And we bring 3 guys from the youth center where I used to work in this time. And one of them, he loved dancing, but he always was ashamed to dance, because maybe other youngsters, they took the piss out of him and said, this is only for dancing is only for girls. And so he came to the youth center in the afternoon to train dancing when the others did not yet arrive. He always was on his own dancing. And when we came to Portugal, he attended to Paco's workshop. And Paco didn't believe that he hasn't ever danced before in front of an audience. And when he did at the performance, it was very nice to see this, because he was really good, and he was happy to do it, and this was very, I don't know if it's proudness, but it was one of most happiest moments in my work.
Des transformations, ouais, moi je trouve qu'il y a des transformations chez les jeunes, mais je ne sais pas si c'est l'art qui a fait la transformation. Je ne sais pas. Peut-être c'est l'art, peut-être c'est pas l'art. Il y a de la transformation, mais je ne sais pas si c'est l'art. Mais si tous les jeunes de différents pays se retrouvent, c'est comme, pour moi, comment on dit, le chaudron. Vous connaissez le chaudron de l'alchimiste? Le chaudron de l'alchimiste. Il se passe beaucoup de choses quand des jeunes ou des adultes, pas seulement jeunes, tout le monde, quand différentes régions, pays, histoires se rencontrent, c'est comme le chaudron de l'alchimiste. Il y a beaucoup de choses qui vivent, qui bougent, quoi. Alors, est-ce que c'est l'art? Peut-être, je veux croire que c'est l'art, mais je ne suis pas sûr que c'est l'art. Mais si tu mets beaucoup de mondes différents dans une voilà, il se passe beaucoup de choses, quoi. L'art, pour moi, c'est le meilleur pour ce processus, quoi. Mais peut-être s'il n'y a pas l'art, peut-être c'est la même chose. Donc, mais il y a changement, oui, bien sûr.
A good example is Theatre of the Oppressed. Because with this you create a story based on a problem you have. Or you witness somebody else's story about a problem and you're in the audience and the play is performed but it doesn't show the solution. The audience see it a second time and in the second performance they shout stop and they come up and take the place of the person with the problem and show what they would do. Now this is something really interesting happens for people who've never experienced that before. And it's fascinating to watch. I love it because you explain how it's going to work. We're going to perform this play. The second time it's performed, you can shout stop and come up and take the place of the person on the stage and try and change it. And they don't hear it. They don't. It doesn't register. And then the play is performed, and everybody's very good. Okay, we're going to do it again. And this time, you can shout stop and come up and take and they just laugh. They laugh at the possibility of intervening in art, intervening in somebody else's story, because all of society is geared to suppress that. In schools, nobody is ever answering a question they've asked themselves. It's the teachers ask the question. In our education system anyway. It's geared to suppress this interaction. So I see a part of the brain awaken in those people that's been sleeping. Possibility. And I don't think it can be closed again. So and when they see several people coming up and trying different things on the stage to try and solve a problem, and I know from my own experience of this, if I'm in an argument with somebody, the possibility of behaving in a different way is there because I've witnessed it happening. And it's the multivalent, it's the several, it can be different. It can be different to this. I can do this differently, I can do this differently. And that can change the way you behave in a situation where before you might have just behaved in that way, that habit, that stuck way.
Which are your very personal goals in Drums for Peace? And how much does the reality of Drums for Peace match them? Like, do you want youngsters to come and learn something on a practical level, so they learn certain skills, or that they take something away on an emotional level, that they like friendship, feel something new, or maybe even on a spiritual level, that they change their point of view of the world? Like what is your very personal wish, what they take away?
Everybody takes away from the project a friendship with other people from other countries. It's very important because it's also about the peace dimension in Drums for Peace in our projects. And I think we are contributing to that, building friendships. And the world is different from 50 years ago. I usually say when I was a child and should meet my grandmother, she lived in Denmark. Denmark is a small country. It took 8 hours by train to come there. It's the same time as it took me today to come here to Milan. So world is different, and you have all kind of, I can send SMS, they find the person I want to communicate with around the world, and I can see all kind of television. So it's important. We are contributing to understanding around the world, and I think we maybe will not change the world, but we are doing our contribution.